ND 31, Georgia Tech 13. It was another slow start by the Irish today, but Notre Dame controlled the time of possession today, got things on track, held Georgia Tech to just 64 yards rushing. That's really good. That offense had gone for 345 a week ago and about 260 the week before. And the Irish pulled a couple tricks out of their trick bag in the second half, a fake punt, a fake field goal to keep control of the second half. And That's a Wrap, brought to you by Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. And I'm Phil Hauk for Fighting Irish Preview and fightingirishpreview.com. By the way, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, remember, where you bank does matter. First, let's talk about slow starts. And this Irish team has been doing this all season long. Let's go back to game one. Texas A&M, Notre Dame falls behind 3-0. Northern Illinois, well, we know how that one ended up. And at the end of the first quarter, the Irish in that game were down 10-7. Miami of Ohio, the Irish fell behind in that game 3-0 before getting their act together. Against Louisville, Louisville scored first. The Irish came back and won that game nicely, but Louisville scored first, 7-0. Stanford scored first last week, 7-0 to start the game. Purdue, we skipped over Purdue because that's the outlier. Notre Dame took a 42-0 lead before Purdue was able to get on the scoreboard in that game at all. 66-7 was the final. Of course, that was a blowout. That's the outlier because today, Georgia Tech, of course, had to jump out to a 7-0 lead before the Irish could get rolling. You know, if Notre Dame could ever figure out how to get off to a fast start, they just might be, really, really good. Anyway, Riley Leonard was pretty good today. Started off pretty hot, made some good things happen. 20 of 29 passing, 203 yards, 10 for 51 on the ground, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He's now got 10 total touchdowns on the year. The all-time record for an Irish quarterback for TDs rushing is 14. That was in 2017 by Brandon Wimbush. I'd say that record is may fall this year because we're just barely to midseason, and Riley Leonard already has 10. In any event, he had those good things happen, but he also did, of course, have the one really bad interception in the first half. For worst pass he's thrown in a month. Marcus Freeman, really aggressive today. We mentioned those 2 fakes. And on the fake field goal, this was interesting. Okay, Chris Salerno is the holder. His number is 26. Well, as there are many duplicate numbers on the Notre Dame roster because there's 115 players on the roster, or whatever it is. There's also another number 26 on the roster, and that's Tyler Buckner. Who has experience holding and has experience playing quarterback, of course. He came in as the holder on that play, so the number wouldn't have changed. So there would have been nothing to tip off the other team unless they knew how to recognize Tyler Buckner as being different from from Chris Salerno. Anyway, Tyler Buckner picks up the snap, runs around end, did a nice job. I mean, he had to extend the ball a little bit to make sure he got the first down. But anyway, welcome back Tyler Buckner, who, of course, I think everybody listening to this probably knows his history about how he transferred and then came back as a walk-on this year and is playing on the lacrosse team as well. Anyway, both those fakes today for the Irish, it resulted in first downs, allowed the Irish to extend drives and take more time off the clock because they did a lot of that in the second half. Let's talk about the defense. Drake Bowen today, he is becoming a force. I love his lateral speed, sideline to sideline. He just sniffs out and hunts down runners. Led the Irish today with 9 tackles. This guy's going to be really good. Sophomore. He's a sophomore. Lots of young players on that defense. And one of those is, of course, freshman Leonard Moore. He also had a good day, taking over for All-American Ben Morrison, who's out for the season with the unfortunate injury last week. But he had some experience earlier in the season. He actually, Moore had started the game against Louisville and played quite well. He is a freshman. He had a big day today. an excellent day. 7 tackles, had a tackle for loss, and 2 pass breakups. Yeah, next man up. That's what we're talking about there. Another young player, another true freshman, Bryce Young. Bryant Young's legacy, son. And this guy's going to be another good one. It just seemed like it was a matter of time. He came close to blocking a kick last week. Well, he comes up with a block kick this week. And it just seemed like it was a matter of time before he was going to make a big play like that. He's also doing good things at the defensive end position. Another freshman is going to be really, really good. Something to be excited about. Anyway, two interceptions by the defense today. They came up big to end possessions for what was really a pretty good Georgia Tech team. I thought Zach Pyron played pretty well at the quarterback position. Real game kid. You could see he was really hurt there at the end, but stayed in the game. I don't know how he did it. I think something to his left shoulder or arm. It was just kind of hanging there, but he was still throwing passes. Anyway, 2 interceptions today, one by Xavier Watts, and then Adon Schuler late in the game with the pick 6. That one pretty much iced things today. Credit also to the pass rush, making it, helping to cause those interceptions. And credit to Al Golden's scheme. I mean, we know it. Defensive coordinator Al Golden, good scheme. Irish seem to figure things out. Sometimes it takes them past the first drive of the game, though, but he usually figures it out. So anyway, the Irish go to 6-1 now. And next week, it's undefeated Navy at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Undefeated Navy. Yes, I said that. And Navy, it's not your father's Navy team in that today I checked out some of their statistics at halftime of the day. They had like 34 points on Charlotte at halftime today. And they hadn't scored any of those touchdowns or points rushing. They scored them through the air. They didn't throw a lot of passes, but they were effective passes. I think they threw 10 passes in the first half. So it's not all. It's a different offense. They still run the option, but we're going to have to also deal with that added aspect of a pretty good passing game as well. Fighting Irish preview, of course. Stick with us. We're going to have you covered all week leading up to that. And we'll be at the Navy game next week. We are all over the place. Fighting Irish Preview, the podcast, fightingirishpreview.com, articles all week. We are all over social media, X, Facebook, Instagram. We need your clicks, and when we need your shares, and we need your likes. All our content is free, but it's not free to bring it to you. But we love bringing it to you. We hope you're enjoying it. Thanks a lot for listening. Notre Dame 31, Georgia Tech 13. The Irish go to 6-1. Are they 6-1 or no? They're 5-1. 6-1. Anyway, they still got a tight needle to thread to get into that playoff, but it's becoming more and more likely every day. And that's a Notre Dame Federal Credit Union wrap.